Test, test 1, 2. I got levels there. Is it working now? Oh man, is my Christian? Why don't you say something right off the bat? Can you hear me now? Let me know if you guys can hear me. I don't know. This whole I'm still getting you now. Good. There we go. I just clicked one little thing and all of a sudden it's working. I don't know how I didn't get that before. Still getting used to the StreamYard. It's and again, I've been so busy I didn't really have time to test things before I even got on here. So sorry about that. You probably missed everything I was saying. What was I saying? Doomsday Crypt is in the chat. Christian Spencer's in the chat. Aaron Johnson is in the chat. I'm glad you guys can hear me. How am I, Aaron Johnson? I am doing good for the most part. I've been a busy bee lately, which is why I haven't done the show for a long time. This particular show, I've only done this, and it wasn't even live. I'm gonna only do these live from now on, guys. Just so you guys know, I'm just not a pre-recorded kind of guy when it comes to doing YouTube stuff. I need to be live and in the moment, even though sometimes I have technical difficulties, which, like I just did, overlooked something obviously. But I feel more real when I'm live and in the moment and not feeling like I don't know. You know, you guys know that do the pre-recorded videos. I think John, do you do you're pretty, I don't know. I know you don't go live as much as I do, I don't think. But anyways, I just like live. Fair enough. Uh, so how are you guys all doing? You guys enjoying this weekend? This is one of two shows I'm doing this week today. Doing I'm going all out today. Later on this evening on Merlo's Movie Massacre. Yes, that's right, my horror show that I primarily focus on. I'm gonna try to start doing this show a little bit more often. Hey, and Santi Coronas is here as well. But later on tonight on Merlo's Movie Massacre, we've got writer-director Michael Tegagnon. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. I'm probably butchering it. But he is the writer-director of the upcoming Halloween fan film, Halloween Evil Lives. And they are crowdfunding on Indiegogo right now. I think they're almost halfway to their goal at this point, and about how they're about on pace to hit their goal and go in demand. So go check out Halloween Evil Lives. I don't think I have the link in this description. It'll be in the link for tonight's live stream on Merlo's Movie Massacre. So yeah, that is so be tuned in for that. Just be tuned in. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna hear his vision for his Halloween fan film and talk about some awesome stuff related to his film. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and this should be a lot of fun. We're gonna talk. I'm gonna talk my top 10 comedies. There's gonna be a ton of honorable mentions too, because man, that's a tough list to to really come up with. It really is. I'm the opposite. Doomsday Crypt says, "I'm the opposite. I'm working on doing more live." Okay, I like doing live more. I did. I tried to pre-record. I tried pre-recorded videos. Like I tried to review many years ago. Well, not many years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago. It didn't even go well. I pre-recorded it, and I think I got just as much dislikes as I got likes. It was totally awkward. I'm like, I'm like, I'm not really a reviewer. I don't feel like I'm that kind of a channel. I'm not that. I don't feel like I'm good at reviewing movies. I just like to talk about and share my thoughts about them, whether you call that reviewing or not, whatever. But I don't really feel like I'm a reviewer. If I was a reviewer, I would probably have to watch a lot more movies than I get a chance to. I'm notorious for always trying to avoid movies that I know I'm not going to like. So, and I think you have to do that if you're a reviewer. If you are a reviewer, I feel like you have to watch the good and the bad, then get all the nitty-gritty out there. It's not about just the movies you love. If you're gonna review movies, you gotta review everything. And so you gotta be there as soon as new movies come out, and that's not me. I don't have time to do that kind of stuff, and I don't wanna watch movies I know I'm not gonna like, so it is what it is, right? Anyways, what else are you guys saying before I really get into the nitty-gritty of this top 10 list? It's essentially it's a ranking, although this ranking could really change quite a bit. Um, what are we talking about? Santi is asking what we're talking about today. We're talking about my top 10 comedies. You guys can share yours in the chat as well. If you guys want to list your top 10 favorite comedies of all time, there might be some stuff on my list that some of you probably never even heard of, and there might be some stuff missing from my list that you guys are like, why the hell isn't this movie on your list? And so on and so forth, stuff like that. Look forward to that. Have we heard any news about the new TCM? I have not yet. It's August now. We're more than halfway through the year. No release date. I'm hoping for the best. I have a theory. I wouldn't be surprised if my theory's wrong. But I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance that this movie could still be good. A chance. But we'll see. It's going to depend on a lot of things, and we'll see. I talked about it on my last Merlo's movie massacre. If you guys want to talk about that, if you're more interested in that theory, again, I don't want to focus too much on horror on this show, because this is about other movies, other types of movies, and today specifically comedies. What you can expect on this show. Again, I'm always going to probably do it around this time, 2 maybe 3 p.m. at the latest, when I do it, which is probably not going to be once a week. Probably not. Maybe, but probably not. Um, but what was I saying again? You can expect a lot of stuff like a lot of Star Wars videos. I'm gonna talk more Star Wars. Even wore my Star Wars shirt. You got Return of the Jedi. I'm probably gonna do a video on why I think Return of the Jedi is the best Star Wars film, because I know a lot of people disagree with me on that, and I think it's fair. It is an opinion. There are reasons why Return of the Jedi is my favorite, and I'm not going to do that today, but I'm probably going to do a live chat about that, and it'd be nice to just discuss why. And I don't expect anybody to agree with me. Hopefully, there's some people out there that are going to agree with me, but I do love Empire too. But stuff like that. A lot of Star Wars related content. Yeah, just general movie stuff that I really like. That'll be fun to talk about. I'm even interested in taking tips from you guys on what you guys want me to talk about, because that's fun too. Because not everything's about horror. As much as I love horror, I'm going to keep that horror show separate. Merlo's Movie Massacre will always be a 7 p.m. Evening type of show where I talk Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween and so on and so forth, all that kind of stuff. And then this show, I would like to get this show up to once a week, but it definitely won't be in the meantime. Hey, Video Tasties is in the chat. Hey, Gareth, how you doing? Which is more subjective, horror or comedy? Ooh. That's a really good question. What is more subjective? They're both pretty subjective. They're both pretty subjective genres. Ooh. But I think that I think comedy is harder to pull off, in my opinion, at least from somebody who's tried to direct comedy as a director, as opposed to horror. So I think because of that, I think comedy is more technical than horror is. So I think horror is more subjective, to a sense. Yeah. but it's tough though because it's tough because with comedy there's some stuff that some people will find really funny that other people won't. Like some people love toilet humor, which I have to admit I do, and a lot of people hate toilet humor, and that's okay. Hey, Miss Carter's here as well. And I'm glad I'm getting a few. I didn't think I'd get hardly anybody here today. So, on this show, I never do shows this time of the day, so that's different. And this isn't a horror show, and I'm kind of more known for doing horror shows. So I'm glad you guys kind of tuned in. But yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to think about. I might have to do a whole discussion on that. I'm gonna have to like prepare notes and everything. Gives me good ideas for a future video. Thank you, Garrett. Anyways, thank you guys all for tuning in, by the way. I'll get into my honorable mentions first. There's a bunch of honorable mentions, and quite honestly, any one of these honorable mentions could be on my top 10 list. I think I got 16 films altogether. Not all in my honorable mentions, 6 in my honorable mentions, but I could easily have all 6 of these honorable mentions could easily be in my top 10. And before I even go as far as that goes, just want to give a shout out to the production company that we signed on as producers for the SAWYER Massacre, Film Corps. We are so excited to have Film Corps based out of the UK, I believe, be a part of our film, to sign on as a production company. We're very, very excited. Yeah, they're pretty big company. So it's this is not small for the SAWYER Massacre for sure, as well as our business sponsors. We've got Wildlife Command Center as one of our sponsors. They are awesome. Absolutely love what they do, and you can definitely look forward to seeing their logo featured in our film, as well as the opening credits, and just great companies to work with. And of course, John Evans from Behind the Scenes podcast is also one of our business sponsors. We love this guy. Don't you love this guy? I love this guy. I've been a guest on his show before. It's an absolutely awesome podcast. If you haven't checked out Behind the Scenes, go check it out, because it's a great horror podcast. It's a great horror themed podcast. So I think they're on Spotify, Apple Music, all that wonderful stuff. I don't have any links in this video, unfortunately, but you go check them out on Instagram, and mostly Instagram, I think. But John is on Facebook, so you know how it is. You know how it is. Okay. I don't know. I thought John would actually be here today, and I don't see he hasn't stopped in to say hi. John from Doomsday Crypt has, and he's one of our associate producers. Thank you, sir, for all your dedicated work. So yeah, another great person to mention, Doomsday Crypt. What are you guys saying before I continue on? I feel like you guys are saying a few things. You'd say comedy is more subjective. Oh, okay. I just think comedy is so technical. Oh, there's definitely an argument to be had there, though. Hey Gareth, blah blah blah. Yeah, no problem. Just wash it. Okay, you guys are that's just chatting amongst yourself. Wash hands. What's anyways. Hey, and Mario degree centigrade. How you doing? Now I know your name. Are you Italian? I'm half Italian. You didn't Merlo, that's Italian name. It's actually pronounced Merlo, but I just say Merlo, because that's how everybody's called me by that name for years. I'm always Merlo. Whatever. But it is technically pronounced Merlo. But yeah, there you go. Thank you for tuning in, though. So I'll get into my top 10 comedies if you guys are ready for it. I'm going to start with my honorable mentions. It's, gotta do the honorable mentions. Okay. So first group of honorable mentions we got here. We got Deuce Bigelow Male Gigolo. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I love it. I do. I never saw the sequel though, but I do love the first Deuce Bigelow Male Gigolo. I get a kick out of a lot of stuff. Dumb and Dumber, that's a classic. I mean, you can't go wrong. Super Bad, one of my favorites from the 2000s. Seth Rogen and his buddy, can't remember his name now, Evan Goldberg, right? Am I right? Yeah. They did that and they basically wrote it about themselves in high school. Yeah, so that's our first group of honorable mentions. I love all these films. Love all these films as well. Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox Story. Man, the Three Amigos, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I almost like kicking myself. Like, why is Dirty Rotten Scoundrels not on this list? Three Amigos too. Oh, these are tough, man. These are tough. I also could have put all the Steve Martin stuff. Could have put The Jerk in here. That should be an honorable mention too. There's just guys. There's just so many. There are so many. There's so many. Yeah. It's hard to not. It's actually hard to not put stuff on there because it's just too many to name. There's so many great comedies that I just love and adore. Most of them are older. And before I even really get into the top 10 too, I just want to make sure you guys understand how I'm sort of ranking these a little bit too. Some of these are not necessarily they're not necessarily in order of my favorite films in order, uh, but specifically as comedies. Like when I've ranked my top 10 horror films or whatever, I don't necessarily they're not always in the order of my favorite films, but a good example is, Jaws is one of my all-time favorite films, but it doesn't even make my top 10 horror films. But a lot of people consider it a horror. So it's how they impact as a comedy themselves. So I will say this right off the bat. My favorite film of all time is on this list. Those of you guys who know me know what my favorite film of all time is. But will it be number one? Is it my number one favorite comedy of all time? It has to be my number one favorite comedy. And so I'm ranking these based on how much they make me laugh, how funny they are. I mean, how witty the acting was and all that kind of stuff. So it's all about it's about overall as a comedy, not overall as a film. Makes sense? I hope that makes sense. See, Aaron Johnson has got Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That might show up on my list. I think it might. I think it might. We'll start though down at number 10. We've got, and again, these are tough, man. These are so tough. Yeah. Number 10, I've got Kingpin. That's with Woody Harrelson and Randy Quaid, and Bill Murray's in there too. It's pretty funny. It's pretty awesome. I mean, it's awesome. Who doesn't love a good bowling movie? Right? I love bowling. Any of you guys like to bowl? I love bowling. Just saying. 10 pin. And here in Canada, we also have 5-pin bowling, which is actually I find it to be a little bit more difficult than 10 pin. Personally, but if you've ever played 5-pin, let me know your thoughts. What's more difficult, 10-pin or 5-pin? I guess 10-pin, the ball is bigger and heavier, but 5-pin, it's I don't know. We'll see. I'll see if any of you guys have played 5-pin because I don't think they have 5-pin anywhere in the US. I don't think. But I don't know. Anywho. But yeah, like what Aaron said there, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We'll see where that shows up on my list. If any of you guys know what my favorite film of all time is, let's see how well you guys know me. We'll see. Going on to my number 9 film of all time. Yeah, just as far as Kingpin goes, before I get into my number 9, it's just a good funny film. It has a lot of great funny moments, when when he milked the bull in the Amish farm there, and we don't have a cow. He didn't know it real. We have a bull. He's drinking the yeah. Ishtar, no, it's Ishmael, isn't it? Ishmael? Ishmael. Ooh, Happy Gilmore. Oh my goodness. I'm starting to I'm I'm already starting to rethink my list here, guys. I don't have Happy Gilmore on this list. It could be. It probably should be. That's another honorable mention for sure. I don't know how I didn't get that on this. Was so tough to make this list. Yeah, Happy Gilmore is probably my favorite Adam Sandler film. It feels weird that I didn't put it on. It does feel weird that I didn't put it on. Uh, Shawano Redemption. I think you said your favorite. No, oh, I think it's Shawshank. No, that's not a comedy. You gotta think comedy, boy. Comedy, boy. If Shawshank Redemption is a comedy, then I missed the point of that movie then. No, it's Shawshank is up there. It's number 3. I put it on my when I did my ranking. I would probably keep that at number 3. That's my top 3 is pretty solid. I don't think I could ever move my top 3 from where they are. Even actually my top 5, I couldn't move my top 5. They are ranked for sure where they are. The other ones, it's like, you could see them moving around a bit. But my top 5 is solid. Yeah, but it's a comedy too, John. It's comedy. It's my favorite movie, but it's also a comedy. Anyways, The Hot Chick with Rob Schneider. I saw that recently. I actually just saw that recently for the first time. It was okay. I actually avoided The Hot Chick for the longest time because people told me it sucked. And I saw it and I thought it's actually not that bad. It's not. I would never have it in a top 10 comedies of all time. Deuce Bigelow is the closest Rob Schneider film you're gonna get, and that more or less does make it sort of because again, these film all 6 of those, and then even Happy Gilmore, man, it's hard to not put them. It's hard to not put them in a top 10. So yeah, I'm actually mad that I didn't think. I'm mad at myself for not thinking of that one. Benchwarmers, I trying to remember the Benchwarmers. I think I did see it, but I don't think I liked it very much. I don't know. Again, yeah, comedy is subjective. Like that's why it's tough though because it's tough to say it's as subjective because of how technical comedy is. And I think well, man, that's a whole nother topic. I could get into that for a long time. Big Daddy, I like Big Daddy. I don't think I could put it in top 10. But anyways, I'll move on. My number 9, just so I'm not yapping on forever here. It's tough, man. It's tough to list comedies, favorite comedies for sure. But my number 9 would have to be again interchangeable, definitely interchangeable. But Tommy Boy with Chris Farley and David Spade. Man, I love this movie. I have watched this movie so many times. It's a great film. Man, it's got a lot to it actually, really, when you think about it. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's a fairly simple story, but it as far as it isn't just a comedy. It is mostly a comedy, but there are some touching moments in it too, and I think that when you can do that, that definitely shows a lot. But I mean, there's a lot of funny moments in Tommy Boy. I've seen the movie so many times. You know, fat guy in a little coat. I mean, you got to remember that. And Richard, do I have a mark on my face? You know, nope, ship shape. It doesn't hurt here so bad here. It hurts right here, not here or here so much, but right here. You know, this big gash on it. You know, I don't know. It's hilarious. I mean, I could quote it all day. You know, the sales pitch when they almost got this guy, and the guy's like, everybody's telling him no. They're all saying no, 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 and he's like, okay, okie dokie. And finally, the one business exec guy says, "Let me say maybe." And then first David Spade gets into getting into technical talk, and Chris Farley's like, "I think what my associate here is saying is our brake pads are really cool. I mean, you're not even gonna believe it. Like, say you're just driving around, la 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 la, and then there's a truck tire in the middle of the road, and like, whoa, that was close. But now let's see what happens when you use the other guy's brake pads. And you're driving along, la 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 la, and then the kid screaming in the back, I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy. No, damn it, truck tire. I can't stop. You guys know what I'm talking about. I could do the whole thing, but it's uh it's classic. It's classic stuff. I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy. I don't know. Like, was that all improv? It probably was. I feel like those types of things, you just have to be a great comedic actor, because I bet it didn't say all that in the script. I bet a lot of that it probably had a general outline in the script, and it's like, do what you can with this. Make this hilarious, Chris. I mean, the guy died too young, man. What was he, 33 or 34 when he died? I don't even know the exact. He was in his early to mid 30s. I know that. And yeah, I mean, man, the poor guy had a lot of drug problems, and you know, live fast, die young, I guess. But man, was he ever a gem for the time that we had him? Amazing stuff. So that's yeah, Tommy Boy number 9. Again, there's just so many great moments. Just so many great moments. See, Christian's been listing off all Beverly Hills Ninja, Billy Madison. I really like. Again, I don't think I could quite put it on my top. It's close though. That's my boy. I've never seen that before. Don't believe I've seen that before. Anyways, hey, there's John from Behind the Fiends. We mentioned you earlier. I just posted your one of our awesome sponsors for our film and associate producer. Awesome, guys. Awesome. There you go. What are you guys saying? 27, right? I don't know. 27 what? I'm probably missing stuff. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. That was from Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. That's another one that I probably could have put on this list. However, I didn't. I'll mention a couple here that I didn't put on this list, and that some of you might be surprised that I didn't put on. Beetlejuice is one of them. It is pretty funny. I feel like it is funny, but there's it's a great movie. I absolutely love Beetlejuice. It's a great overall movie, but as a comedy, does it compete with these? I don't feel like it quite does. It's a good overall. It's a very interesting take on afterlife, and I don't think you can call it really paranormal, kind of, sort of, but because there's ghosts involved and whatnot. The ghosts with the most, of course. Uh, but yeah, it's a great movie. I don't think I could have it on my top 10. And another one that I'm sure a lot of people would have is probably Ghostbusters. Again, I love the film. I just, as comedies, the Ghostbusters films, I love both 1 and 2 fairly equally, actually. We're hearing good things about Ghostbusters 3, which I haven't even checked out the trailer for yet. I've heard all kinds of wonderful things about the new Ghostbusters trailer. I have to check it out, and I just haven't yet. I feel bad for not checking it out yet. I've just been so busy. But yeah, the Ghostbusters films, they're just they're just great overall films that do have some really funny moments. But yeah, Freddy's Dead was a good horror parody. I mean, yeah, It's true. There are funny. There's. I feel like Freddy's Dead is more of a comedy than it is a horror film, by far, actually. As I could laugh at it a lot more than anything else, but overall, it's kind of forgettable to me. But I always remember from Freddy's Dead. I remember the video game Dream when he's, "But you forgot about the power glove," or something. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but so these are like old school video game things. If any of you guys ever had the power glove, like everybody wanted that power glove. Was that for Nintendo? I can't remember. Probably for Nintendo back then. The power glove. Uh, the new Ghostbuster seems like a love letter to Harold. I gotta see the new trailer now. It probably, yeah, I can. I hope it's a good love letter to him. It sucks that he can't be a part of it. It really sucks that he can't. But I'm glad the rest of them are going to be in it. And new cast. It's going to be kind of like passing the torch on, from what I've heard. So hopefully it's good. I think it'll be good. I have a feeling it'll be good. Anyways, but yeah, at the end of the day, Ghostbusters is a comedy, but I feel like it's got a lot more other elements to it that make it just both of them. Again, Ghostbusters 2 gets a lot of flack, actually. And I feel like, man, it's actually a pretty good movie with a lot of funny moments and great villain as well. So I don't know. I do feel like it's unfairly treated that as a sequel. I do like Ghostbusters 2. Next on my list, I know this one. I've heard a lot of people say that this movie doesn't get well with age. I disagree with them. That this movie didn't age well. I disagree with them. And that's Spaceballs. I frickin' love Spaceballs. Maybe it is a little bit of nostalgia speaking, but I'll always remember the very first time that I saw Dark Helmet walking down that and everybody's scared shitless, and it's a short little Darth Vader kind of thing. And the breathing probably opens up. I can't breathe in this thing, you know, and it just totally don't expect that. And I think it's hilarious. I think it's absolutely hilarious. Rick Moranis was his funniest in Spaceballs. For me personally, anyways, he was just hilarious in Spaceballs. Like the doll scene when he's got the doll. So, Princess Vespa, you thought you could outwit the imperious forces of the space, of planet Spaceball. And he's got, "Oh no, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Oh no, kiss me. No, no. Oh, but I find you strangely attractive." Of course. Your helmet is so big. It's just may the Schwartz be with you. Yes, very true. Don't hate me, Steve. I've never seen it. Oh man, you gotta see Spaceballs. Ludicrous speed. Go. I don't know. And he crashes into after they finally break from ludicrous speed. He goes flying into it. You get him up. Oh, how have you been? Oh, good. Smoke if you got him. It was. It's classic, guys. Gotta see it. Gotta see it. Pizza the Hut. There you go. Pizza the Hut. It's a Star Wars spoof, if you don't know, Christian. For the most part, there's a little bit of Star Trek in there too. A little bit. We got Snotty to thank for that. Anyways, anything else anybody has to say about Spaceballs? But it seems like every YouTuber I see that talks about Spaceballs is like, "Oh, this movie did not age well. This movie does." I think it does. I love it. Tell them to comb the desert. Comb the desert. Of course, they're gonna have gigantic combs and start combing the desert. It's just. I love it. I personally love this kind of stuff. I can understand why people again, you're right, subjective. It is subjective. That's why it's tough. Horror and comedy are very different styles of films, but are subjective for different reasons, but they're still very subjective. Just saying. That's right. Aliens reference. Yeah, a lot of sci-fi. But yes, the aliens reference is actually really well done. They got what's his name, John Hurt himself to do that, which is awesome. He's like, "Oh no, not again." Classic, guys. Classic. Classic. Christian, you got to go see it. You have to see it. I understand if this came out before your time. I think a lot of the best comedies did come. I bet you haven't seen a lot of the comedies on this list because they probably came out before your time. Um, I'm old. I was born in 1980, so there are a couple. I think a couple I put that even came out before I was born. At least one. One, and then one came out the year I was born. But yeah, so some of them were kind of before my time, even as well. But funny is funny. Okay, let's moving right along here. Okay, next one. Maybe you've seen this because it's not too old. This came out in '99. Office Space. Man, I love Office Space. It was again. I almost thought of taking this off this list, and I was like, no, this has to be in my top 10. Yeah, Stephen Root as Milton is priceless. I used to be known for doing a bit of a Milton impression. I don't know if I could do it anymore, but well, I probably could, but I can't remember all the dialogue. But you know, oh man, Cheech and Chong's next movie. Oh, I can't believe I didn't think of that one. You are right though, John. That should be on this list. Damn, I can't believe I didn't think of that. It's freaking hard, man. There's so many movies I know I'm missing. And like Christian had mentioned Happy Gilmore earlier. I was like, "Oh, how did I not put that on this list?" And now John mentions Cheech and Chong's next movie. And I know most people would probably put the first Cheech and Chong movie on there, Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke. I wouldn't. I like next movie more. I think it's sorry about that. I think next movie is funnier than Up in Smoke. Personally, I do. And make that another honorable mention for sure because I absolutely love it. Hey, it's Joe from Any Last Words. Hey, good to see you on my show. I don't know the last time that you've I can't remember. I know you've been here before though. Go check out Any Last Words if you guys want to check out an awesome YouTube channel. Yeah, she had me on a while ago. I'd love to come back on if I ever can. We'll see. Jay and Silent Bob Next Adventure. I know I've actually never seen that one. I hate to admit, Christian, haven't seen that one. So it wouldn't be on my list. If I haven't seen it, it wouldn't be on my list. Plus, Tommy Chong is a fellow Canadian, yes, from Vancouver. In fact, I went to school with somebody he was related to. I can't remember who it was. I went to school with like his nephew or something like that. I can't remember. It was a long time ago, guys. I'm old. Not as old as Tommy Chong though. He's still hanging in there though. He's over 80 years old. I know now. He's getting up there. Where are we now? Gotta keep going. Anything else I can say about Office Space? Man, have you guys seen Office Space? But yeah, Stephen Root is Milton. The story is pretty good. It was actually based off of a small, uh, I guess, a comic strip that Mike Judge created. You know, Mike Judge is the creator of Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill. And it was like a very short, they were like 2-minute shorts called Milton. So Milton was the main character of that. And and main character, and Lumberg was the guy, the boss taunting him, sort of thing. And they made the movie kind of around that, although Milton is more of a side character in Office Space. It's still great. Milton is still the highlight for me of the film. I mean, I love Ron Livingston and Jennifer Aniston in the movie as well. But Milton Stephen Root as Milton just kind of steals it for me. For me. But there's a lot of funny stuff about it, you know. Oh yeah, Lumberg fucked her. Lumberg? I can't believe you slept with Lumberg. Oh, just grow up. Well, maybe you're right, but at least I never slept with Lumberg. Say hello to Lumberg for me. Wasn't even the same Lumberg, anyways. Yeah, great movie. Great movie. Those of you who haven't seen it, of course, have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just quoting a little bit of stuff from it. I do that sometimes. I hope that's okay. That poor printer they had. Oh man. At the new movie I'm working on, man, there's some printer issues. The printer, I feel like the production coordinator is gonna smash that thing pretty soon. I just wanted a piece of cake. There you go. Awesome. Thanks, Joe. Gary Cole can play both hilarious and terrifying. Actually, that's very true. Very true. Great actor. I find that with comedic actors can typically play pretty much anything. That's the one good thing about comedic actors is they are very diverse. It's very rare you're going to see is no, I'm not going to say very rare, but it's rare that you see a dramatic actor or you know um somebody like that go into a comedic role. Not as often, that's for sure, but it happens. Um, for sure. But yeah, it's some of those actors can just do anything. Anyways, Steve, direct a horror comedy movie called Attack of the Killer Printer. Attack of the Killer Printer. Well, we'll see. Probably not, but you never know. Anyways, next. I'm not even sure where we are. This is probably we into the top 5 by now, or is this 10, 9, 8, 7. We're at 6. Okay, we're at 6. At 6, and this is pretty much about the same spot. It's in my top 10 films of all time too. So again, where they place in my top 10 films compared to some of these other films is not necessarily where they place as comedies, but I can't deny how funny this movie is. And it is very, very funny. So it makes it to the 6th spot, and that is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Yes, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I absolutely love Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It is absolutely hilarious. Let's get that right there. It's absolutely hilarious. Man, what else can I say? I mean, it's obviously much more than that. It's very story driven, very character driven. It has a very touching moment at the end. It's one of those movies that kind of does it all, which is why it's about number 6, number 7 of all time in my all-time favorite films list, and it's there in my comedies. It's so some of these comedies that come ranked higher as comedies would be further back in my top 20 or 30 or 40 films of all time. But as a comedy, it's still pretty darn good. So there's some hilarious moments, even when I was a kid, and when the moment came when they're in bed together. Those aren't pillows. Anybody who's seen that, those aren't pillows. I didn't get it when I was like 8 or 9 years old, but I still laughed because of the way, I mean, it's how great they were in that moment. The reaction they had still made you laugh, even though I didn't get it then. Now I get it, and you know, it's just that much more funnier now when you're old enough to get it. But when you're 9 years old and you see that for the first time, you probably didn't get it. But uh, it's great though. It's there's a lot of funny moments. There's just so many. Yes, John Candy is a comedic genius, and it's a movie that managed to be funny without a lot of gratuity or swearing. Other than one scene where there's f bomb city in one scene is actually interesting how they did that. How the whole movie, there's not a single swear in the whole movie, and then this one scene at the rental car place. Man, I used to work for a rental car company, so I try not to say much, but I sympathize with Steve Martin. I won't mention any names of which company I worked for, but it wasn't the same one. Um, I'm not even sure if that's a real rental car company in the movie, but it might be though. I have no idea. Um, but the fact that he goes on that many f bombs in that one scene, and the rest of the film is totally clean. I think that's awesome. I think that's it's different though. You don't see movies do that. Usually if it's a F-bomb type of movie, they are everywhere, not just one scene. But at the same time, you got to think probably for cutting that for TV, it's not that hard. You could probably cut out most of that scene and it still works. Probably. You could probably cut around the F bombs and you still get the point across. I have to look at that more, but rather than just bleeping out all the F bombs, because that would actually be kind of tough. Yeah, anyways. What are you guys saying? John Cannon, comedic genius, yes. Chevy Chase movies, yes. I got one Chevy Chase movie on this list. And I did think of putting another one on, but I left it off. I actually did. Oh God, Christian, you're killing me. Airplane. How did I not put Airplane on this list? Man, I missed a lot. That's another honorable mention. There's so many honorable mentions, guys. Too many, too many. And look at that. I think I actually forgot to put the graphic for my number one. I just gonna have to talk about it rather than show you a graphic, but that's not a big deal. You guys don't care. We're not there yet, anyways. But speaking of Chevy Chase movies, getting into the top 5. Since you mentioned Chevy Chase movies, Caddyshack. It's impossible to not have Caddyshack on a list like this. You got Chevy Chase, you got Bill Murray, you've got Rodney Dangerfield, you've got Ted Knight. It's absolutely how could you just couldn't. I could not put this movie on the list because it's iconic. And that's the movie that came out the year I was born. Airplane did as well. And Cheech and Chong's next movie did as well. Oh my god, a lot of great comedies came out the year I was born. Now that I think about it. Um yeah, Caddyshack is great. I mean, Rodney Dangerfield's this was his first film. This was actually Rodney Dangerfield's first film. He was just a stand-up comic uh before that. And he was kind of late in the game as far as a stand-up comedian goes. I think he was already into his 40s, excuse me, when he became a stand-up comedian. And yes, Harold Ramis directed that. Very, very true. And co-wrote it with Bill Murray's brother Brian, who's also in the movie. Brian Doyle Murray is also in the movie. Great in it as the head of the Caddyshack, whatever you want to call it. And some other guy wrote it too. I can't remember the other guy's name. Doug somebody. I can't remember. But yeah, man, it's it is more than just a comedy too. It's got a lot of it's a bit of a teen drama at the same time, it's but there's so many great comedic moments that it's just hard not to put it on the list. Rodney Dangerfield, shoots he shouts "4" when he hits his drive, hits Ted Knight right in the in the nuts, and he's like, "Ooh, I should have yelled 2," stuff like that. It's great, and of course, Bill Murray after the gopher is absolutely amazing. It's great. It's Mr. Gopher. Oh, it's just me here, a friendly rabbit. It's not a plastic explosive or anything. You know, au revoir, Gopher. He was great. Yeah, he was great. And there's only the one scene of him and Chevy Chase together in the film, and I believe that was due to them having they were not on the best of terms of that time, Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. But it's a great scene. The scene that they are together is actually great. It almost kind of feels afterthought, but the way it's written, about they're smoking the grass, and we play on this grass, and then you smoke it too. That's a great thing about this grass is you can play 18 holes on it, or 36. He says 36 holes in the afternoon, and then just get stoned and a Jesus belt on this stuff. Yeah, Cinderella. Oh yeah, that was all like improvised too. Bill Murray doing that. That was great. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough. I can't say enough. It's hard to not it. I wouldn't have it that high on my it'd probably make my top 20 films of all time, but I wouldn't have it in my top 10, but I still love it. But hey, just because a movie's in your top 20 doesn't mean it's bad. It's definitely a great movie. It's any film that makes your top 100, unless you don't watch that many movies, um, should be a pretty great film. Should be. I think everybody's top 100 films should be all killer, no filler kind of thing. At least mine are. I would want to see all of my top 100 films multiple times. Anyways, who getting into the nitty-gritty now. We'll see what you guys think of some of these ones now. Number 4 on my list of top 10 comedies. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you haven't heard of this one, but I think it's great. It might be considered a little bit in bad taste, but I don't care. It's not over the top for me. It's just right. And that's a little movie called Orgasmo. Let me know if you've seen this movie or not. If you haven't seen this movie, and if you're a South Park fan, this was a movie made by the South Park guys before they made South Park. Um, and I think it's great. I think it's absolutely awesome. I laugh hysterically watching this movie all the time because I think it's so hilarious, and the way the porn industry is kind of is kind of looked at in this movie is great. You've got porn stars in this movie. There's not really a lot of nudity in it. There's a little bit here and there, but really very little for the most part. And I love Orgasmo, but watch basketball more. I see. I didn't get into basketball as much, but maybe I need to rewatch. I haven't watched basketball since it pretty much came out in the late '90s, uh, early 2000s. Maybe I watched it once in the early 2000s, but yeah, Orgasmo is one I could just watch over and over and over because the comedy is just so great. Matt Trey Parker and Matt Stone are both great in this movie. Matt Stone, though, as he's what is his job on the movie? He's I don't know if he's script supervisor or something or like that. If he's scripty or something like that for continuity, but he's always like, "Wow, that is some hot action!" And every time he talks to Trey Parker's character, his character is full on Mormon and he's in a porn movie, starring in a porn movie. Uh, and every time that they encounter Matt Stone, basically his character leads on that he's gay. And I don't want to sound like a queer or nothing, but I think that Depeche Mode is a sweet band. Hey, Depeche Mode is a sweet band. And I'm a guy who doesn't really like a lot of electronic music, but I actually don't mind Depeche Mode. Uh, some of their stuff, not all of their stuff, but some of their stuff. But yeah, it's classic. It's just the Orgasmobile, Buick Century. Yeah, Chota Boy, the characters, man, the character. So porn legend Ron Jeremy, his biggest role ever, I think, is in this movie as Jizz Master Zero. Uh, I mean, you have a scene when when the movies become a big hit and all that. You have like a little 10-year-old kid playing with action figures, like, I'm gonna get you, Orgasmo. No, Jizz Master Zero, I'll get you. I'll get you with my Orgasmo Raider. Like, there's no way that would ever happen, that parents would ever let their kids. But the idea was that this porn movie became into the mainstream. It's great. Ron Jeremy's in Ghostbusters. Is he really? Ooh, I'll have to look for that now. Is he really in Ghostbusters? Thank you, Gareth. I'm gonna have to check for that now. I did not know that. Did you know that? Well, obviously Gareth did, but Christian Spencer mentioned Napoleon Dynamite. I've only seen Napoleon Dynamite once, and it was okay. For me, it was just okay, but I'll have to see it again. It's been a long time. DVD. The opening track is kind of like a very over the top Eye of the Tiger style tune by DVDA. That's their band, or at least Trey Parker's band. I don't know if Matt Stone is in the band or not, but it's Trey Parker singing, and he just overdoes the voice. It's just great. He's like, "Oh, it makes a man fit the woman in his hands just because she's got big titties. Or is it the way he fights every day? No, it's probably the titties." It's great. I mean, it's a little bit in bad taste, like I said, but there's something really funny about it. There's just something really funny about it. Some people might find it offensive, and I can understand that. I hope I'm not offending any of the. I hope I'm definitely not. I hope I'm not offending any of the female viewers with some of this stuff. It's kind of, look at it as kind of making fun of those that are derogatory towards women. I think I look at it that way, anyways. I definitely don't look at it as being derogatory to women, but I think it could be perceived that way. I think it could, and you know what? Maybe there is a little bit. I don't know, but I don't view it that way. I think it's all on how you perceive things, guys. So hopefully I didn't offend anybody. If I did, it's just a movie, guys. It's just a movie at the end of the day, and I just think it's funny. Um, Check it out. See if you like it. Next on my list, guys. Oh, Boogie Nights. Uh, I don't mind Boogie Nights, but as a comedy. Anyways, moving on my list. My favorite film of all time, The Big Lebowski, in at number 3 on my list. It's number 3, not number 1. It is 3. That 3 is pretty good. I actually, when I was making this list, I thought I'd probably put it back even a little bit more, but you know what? The comedy does land really, really well. It's undeniable comedy, and Great characters, great acting, great characters, great dialogue. So it's just there's a reason why it's my number one film of all time. It's not my number one comedy of all time. And again, I forgot to put the graphic for my number one comedy. I've been busy. What can I say? But man, yeah, The Rug really tied the room together. The comedy is so good. The thumbnail you guys saw, I used the image of the dude and Walter grilling little Larry at the homework. I think that's my favorite scene. The way they time their dialogue in that is just it's gold. It's absolutely gold, you know. You know, is this your homework, Larry? Is this your homework, Larry? Ask him about the car. Is this your homework, Larry? Is that your car out front? Look, we know it's his homework. Where's the fucking money, you little brat? It was just, I don't know. I love that scene. Yeah, that is an awesome. There's and that's not the only. I mean, there's so many. You know, the dude's little his best. The dude's best line is when he's dragged into that limo. And they're like, "Where's the money? Where's my money? You know, her life was in your head." It's like, "Oh, well, I got certain information, man. New shit has come to light, and you know, instead of going around blaming me, especially given the nature of all this new shit that's going on here, like this could be uh, complex. I mean, it might be or it might not be to such a simple, you know, like how do you write that? There's no way that was written like that. It had to have been improvised by Jeff Bridges. It must have been. 'Cause I just like if I saw that on a script, I'd be like, how the hell do I act this? How the hell am I gonna, you know? And man, it's gold. It's gold. I think it's absolute gold. Um there's so much stuff to say about this movie. I might even just uh, one of these days I'm gonna do an entire live stream talking about the Big Lebowski because it almost needs it. It almost needs it. In my opinion, it needs it. Yes, a Christian. Yes, yeah. Actually, John and I were talking about that last night. Theories about Donnie. There's actually some interesting. There's a lot of theories about this movie. You know, about its overall meaning, and a lot of it's up to interpretation. And I think most people pretty much interpret the overall film in their own way, and I think that's an awesome thing about it. You know, it's a great movie to have your own ideas about. You know, so yeah, I mean it's I love it. I just it's I remember the first time I saw it. My friend Jordan, who I went to high school with, showed me The Big Lebowski back in about I'm gonna say 2000 or 2001. So just a couple of years, 2 to 3 years after it came out. And, I remember while I was watching it, I kept saying to myself, "Do I think I like this movie, but I don't know why. Why am I so intrigued to keep watching what's gonna happen in this movie? Because it's it's very different for sure. I mean, there it was not well liked when it first came out, I guess. It was a bit of a box office bomb, I guess. And yeah, I remember about halfway through the film, my buddy Jordan stopped and said, "Hey, Steve, we don't have to keep watching this if you don't like it." And I'm like, "No, man, I actually I'm actually digging this for some reason." And the more I watched it, the more I loved it. It's just you know what? It's a movie I can watch if I've had a rough day and I need something to get me in a good mood, this movie will do it. The Big Lebowski will once that ending, the dude abides. I'm like, I am a satisfied guy. The dude abides. Yeah, it hits it all. This movie has it all, in my opinion. In my opinion. And I don't expect it to be all of your guys' favorite movies, but it's number 3 on my top 10 comedies. So, what do I find funnier than The Big Lebowski? It's close, guys. I mean, a lot of these are pretty darn close, but my top two are pretty hard for me to take off. And again, it's not for everybody. There's probably my number 2 might be a bit controversial. Some people, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what you guys think. Maybe most of you never even heard of it. Probably not. This too was a box office bomb, but it gained cult status. If you know what I mean. And that's the Weird Al Yankovic movie UHF. Uh, yes, it's very goofy. Yes, it's over the top, yet I absolutely love it. I think I think it's just I just think it's really funny, guys. I mean, Spatula City, if you guys know what I'm talking about, again, I don't know who's all seen this movie. But I love Weird Al. I absolutely love Weird Al. I love the way he writes. I wish he did more movies. I think I feel like this movie probably had it was actually reviewed well too. I think as I recall, it had good reviews when it came out. But it was a box office bomb, and so I don't know. He hasn't made him. He hasn't made another movie since. But yeah, we don't need no stinking badgers. Weird Science is another. Though I love Weird Science, but I wouldn't put it on this list. I wouldn't put it on this. Not even my honorable mentions. It's good. It's a great movie. It's pretty funny, but I don't think I could put it on this list. It's a great movie though. It's definitely probably in my top 50 movies of all time for sure. At least my top 50, I would say. Not top 20, but definitely top 50. Anyways, we're talking about UHF. How many of you guys have actually seen UHF? I know Gareth has. Um, uh, Hopping on a list I saw in theaters was laughing so hard. Oh, we're talking about UHF there. Problem was release. Big blockbusters out there that say, yes, you're right. It fell through the cracks. It came out when the same year that 89 Batman came out. It was 89. So that was huge. That alone was huge. I can't remember what else came out, but there was a lot of big stuff that came out in 89. But man, I freaking love it. There's Wheel of Fish, Wheel of Fish, Raoul's Wild Kingdom, oh, these ants, they spend all this time building these intricate little tunnels and takes them weeks and weeks and weeks. Oh, but you know what? They really hate it when you do this. And he shakes. Oh, look, they're really mad now. They're really mad. It's awesome. I don't know. It's I find it hilarious. I find there's just so many hilarious things about it that I just in fact Gandhi 2, Gandhi 2. Conan the Librarian. I don't know. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something, but I forgot what it was. Shoot, I forgot what it was. I was got distracted by Gandhi 2 and Conan the Librarian. UHF. I'm gonna do a little homage to it actually in the Sawyer Massacre. I know it might seem a little weird to be doing an homage to a movie like that. But you know what? UHF, Weird Al paid homages to other films in that movie. And I just want to pay him a little small one. It's going to hardly even be noticeable. Hardly even be noticeable. Because at the end of the day, Sawyer Massacre is not going to be a comedy. But do want to give him a little bit of an homage. little bit of an homage. I love Weird Al. I know some people like him, some people don't, and that's I've seen him live. In fact, it might have been the last concert I actually saw live. I think it was Weird Al, and he was great. He's fantastic. Not everybody likes the parody stuff, and that's fine. I like it though, and some of his actual original songs are actually quite good too. He doesn't just do parodies. I think some people only think of him as a parody guy, but he actually does a lot of original songs on his albums as well. And there a lot of them. Some of them are funnier than his parodies. Some of them are. So there you go. Hey, Carlos from Lazy Reviewer made it in. How you doing there, Carlos? So yeah, UHF, I don't know, man. I couldn't not put this in my list. It's absolutely hilarious to me. I love it. I understand though why it wouldn't be everybody's cup of tea. I can understand that. Kind of like Orgasmo, I guess a little. It's not quite on the level of Orgasmo. UHF is definitely a cleaner film. Like there's no nudity and there's no swearing and mature subject matter and all that kind of stuff. Not that Orgasmo has a lot of that. Orgasmo has less of that than you probably realize, but and at the time I believe it was rated NC-17 for having that. And like what, for a little bit of nudity, you see a guy's butt, you see a little bit of a woman's breast, and really really wasn't a lot, but it was kind of the way it was presented, I guess, that made it seem like it was actually more than it really was. So I think that's what they had to deal with, unfortunately. I don't know if that would happen today. I think a movie like Orgasmo would probably get an R rating. But anyways, who doesn't like a polka? Yeah. I like Weird Al's polka medleys. I like a lot of them. I think those are great. Some of those are the best. I have to have a hard time choosing my favorite one. I have to think about that. If I ever get to start doing a music show, which I do plan on doing that as well, doing a music show at some point where I talk about music, and because I am a professional musician, guys, believe it or not, that's actually my real profession. I got a gig coming. It hasn't been my profession lately, though, due to COVID. COVID has kind of put a damper on that. But anyways, but yeah, I mean, I'd love to talk Weird Al one day. I'd love to just talk Weird Al. He's not for everybody. He's not for everybody, but I dig him. I love it. So that's my number 2. And again, I didn't for whatever reason I didn't put the poster in for my number 1, but my number 1 is Monty Python and the Holy Grail from 1970. Oh God, 75, 70, 75 or 76, I think. Apologize, I'm not as good at remembering my years now for films, but yes, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I just can't say enough about that. Is absolutely hilarious. This is a movie where not having the biggest budgets in the world actually ended up making it funnier. Um, like a great example is just their horses. Were just banging on coconuts. They didn't have money for horses in this movie, so we're gonna bang on coconuts and make that trotting sound and pretend we're riding a horse. Just that as an example. And the inexperience, you could tell that you knew that these guys were inexperienced at filmmaking at this point, yet somehow it's the 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 comedic elements are just amazing, though. The way that the performances are are fantastic. I mean, I can't. Where do you start? Where do you start? The knights who say neat, 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 neat. The the battle that King Arthur has with the Black Knight. It's great. He keeps cutting off his limbs, and he's still like ready to fight until he's got no limbs left. What are you gonna do? Bleed on me? Um, Oh man, the Bridge of Death. You know, he who wishes to cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions three. Here the other side be. You know, what is your name? Sir Arthur, King of the Britain. What is your or King Arthur, King of the Britain? What is your quest? I seek the Holy Grail. What is the windspan velocity of a I can't remember the swallow. I'm forgetting it now. What do you mean, an African or a European swallow? Oh, I don't know that. Into the gorge of eternal peril. I love the names. You know, the gorge of eternal peril. You know, that's just. And of course the rabbit and you know the I don't know. I love it. And the ending, guys, the ending. Like what a way to end it, you know. If you don't I don't want to spoil the ending for any of those that haven't seen it. Yes, of a laden swallow, that's right. The velocity of a laden swallow is a laden swallow. Thank you for correcting me on that, Gareth. I'm glad you know this movie, you know. Yeah. Yes, I fart in your general direction. Your father was a hamster, or your mother was a hamster, and your father stinks of elderberries. You know, John Cleese, right? It's just you know, it's the French, it's the French guard there. It's great. It's great. You know, and you know, trying their own Trojan rabbit, sort of. You know, but you forgot to get in it though. You know, uh, classic, classic. So many great moments. What's your favorite moment from Monty Python and the Holy Grail? If you've seen it, obviously. If you haven't seen it, uh, go see it. Go see Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It was their first feature film. They, if you're not familiar with Monty Python is a group of British sketch comedy. They did sketch comedy. Their show was called Monty Python's Flying Circus. Excuse me. And I believe that ran from like the early 70s to the mid 70s, something like that. And yeah, it's hilarious. And then, you know, they decided to do movies. And that was their first one. They did that one. They did, and honestly, some of the other movies should have made my list too. Life of Brian, Meaning of Life. You know, they're all great. They're all great. And again, any of them could be on this list, but this is my number one though. I mean, I've seen this one. I've seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail probably 50 times by now. Maybe more. I don't know. It's all good. Oh, please tell me Naked Gun was. Oh my God, how is it not on my list? It's This list was very tough, John. I'm not gonna lie. It should be on my list. Definitely should be. It's definitely another honorable mention. We're just talking about number one at this point, and that's Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It has to be my number one. It has to be. I think as an overall film, it's around there with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, sixth or seventh place. But as a comedy, man, I can't stop laughing watching it. If I can't stop laughing watching it, and the fact that I'm still intrigued in the story and where the story is going and all that kind of stuff, it's great. That's what I love about it. You know, and you get the little mini stories too in there, the tale of Sir Robin, and the tale of Sir Lancelot, and all. You know, you get those, and I think that's great. Because you know they all go on their own quests, and yeah, it's great. I don't know. So yeah, what are some of your guys' favorite moments from that movie? The next movie, Life of Brian, is awesome. Yeah, I really like Life of Brian too. It should be another honorable mention because it is pretty awesome. It is pretty awesome, and I like The Meaning of Life too. Probably not as much as Life of Brian though. Probably not as much, but it's pretty good too. Anyways, the Attack on Camelot. Yeah, you like the Attack on Camelot, or it's not the Attack on Camelot. It's the attack. Are we talking about the end here? Are we talking about the end here? Because I don't want to spoil the ending. Maybe my all-time favorite comedy experience. I laughed the whole time I watched it. Are we talking Naked Gun, or are we talking Monty Python here? Let me know. But I do love Naked Gun, and it does feel wrong not having that on this list either. I should have probably done like a top 20 or top 25 or something, because Naked Gun should be on there. Naked Gun is pretty awesome. The sequels I don't mind too, but I like them. But it's the first one that I love. Just saying. So, anywho, I finished all my water. No more water. Anyways, guys, that's my show for you guys today. It's nice to talk about stuff other than horror. But I'm probably going to be talking a lot of Star Wars on the show. I have some interesting Star Wars stuff I would like to talk about. But there's my sort of top 10 comedies. Sort of. Again, there's just so many that it's so interchangeable. You know what though, John? I think British comedy is very is not a lot of people. My wife has a hard time getting it. I think British comedy is definitely tough for some people. But I love it. You know, it's maybe it is the English in me. I'm not just Italian, I'm half English as well. Get that from my mummy's side. And I love a lot of the British comedies. I really connect with it. I'm a big fan of Red Dwarf and Faulty Towers, which also John Cleese, Mr. Bean, and all that stuff. I love it all. I love it all. I love British comedy, but it's not for everybody. I know that. Anyways, guys, that's my list. There's probably more that you guys are going to mention after that. I'm going to be, oh my god, how did I not have this on my list? It's a tough list to make. I don't think I realized how tough this list was going to be to make, because there's just so many. There is just so many. But go, if you haven't seen any of these, if there's certain movies on here that you haven't seen, go check them out. I think they're definitely all worth checking out. Some of them might not be your favorites, but some of them are very subjective. So it depends on the kind of humor you like. But again, and a lot of this is from the 80s and 90s. So, I mean, it might feel a little dated to you. And some of the comedy that's another thing about comedy is a lot of it is reflective on the time period, that it's being. So a lot of it is due to things that are happening at that time in the world. The South Park guys are notorious for that. They make fun of everybody, anyone they can for that time. Anything that's happening in the pop world, whatever you call it. Uh, you know what I mean. Popular stuff, the popular celebrities and all that stuff for that time period. Um, and so if you watch it like 10 years later, it's like, what the hell are you even talking about? It's definitely, a lot of it is related to the time period. So um, there you go. Oh, where was Blazing Saddles? There's another great one. And Young Frankenstein. Frankenstein. And yeah, both could have been on there as well. I love both of. There's just so many. The classic comedies to me are the best, though. I just love them. I don't know. Um, a lot of these recent ones, they don't quite hit the mark for me. I think it's probably the audience is not for me. The audience is usually not me now, I guess. I mean, once in a while I'll see a comedy that I'm like, that's pretty good. But I think they make them for younger audiences, right? So, anyways, Anyways, guys, thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back tonight in just a few hours with director Michael Tegagnon. I hope I'm probably butchering his last name. I'm gonna have to ask him how to pronounce that name later on. Because I'm sure I'm butchering it. Of the Halloween fan film, Halloween Evil Lives, crowdfunding on Indiegogo right now. Go check that out. Check us out tonight. We're gonna have a good chat and talk about his film and their Indiegogo campaign and all the wonderful stuff. And if you get a chance, do please hit that like and subscribe button. I do appreciate it if you do, or hit the dislike if you don't like me. I'm cool with that too. I'm cool either way. But thank you guys all for tuning in and hope to see most of you back here tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And for Merlo's Movie Massacre, that'll be on at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So join in if you can. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.